Hi there, and welcome to the Date Files. She's out there, searching for the right man, and all she's encountered are unemployed, liars, or men trying to cop a feel. They all have been a disaster, as she continues her endless search in the hopes that the right dude is out there.
Hello, and welcome to the Date Files. The Date Files is a podcast where I discuss the horrible, the comical, and the downright disastrous dates that I've been on, and I also ask for your submissions as well. So last week, I talked about Mr. Sci-Fi Guy. Or maybe he should have been Maybe I'm Married Man. Anyways, I received some great emails of your stories that were similar to this guy. My favorite was the wife was actually still living with him, and he told the girl that they were in the same house still to save money, but they've been divorced for 5 years. I don't know about you, but if I divorced somebody and he wanted to still live with me, I'd be like, no, I would rather live in a cardboard box in the middle of winter in the middle of Alaska before I'd save money living with my ex-husband. No, thank you. So this week in the hot seat is Mr. CatBox, or he can also be called Mr. Smoker. So he has two different names. So I bring this one up because it was almost a year ago that I had met him. He was 53, divorced. He was a property manager at an apartment complex. We met online, talked constantly for a week, and by talked it was phone calls, texting, video calls. Our first date was to a comedy club. We had agreed to kind of split the cost of the date. I paid for the comedy club, and he was supposed to pay for dinner. We decided we were going to go to Rainforest Cafe beforehand. So we met in the parking lot. It felt comfortable, like we had been an actual couple for a while. We started walking in, and he says, change of plans, that he couldn't get a reservation to the rainforest, so we were just going to go to the mall food court. He chose an Asian food place, and he gets one meal for both of us to share. And one meal was generously called out because it was more like an appetizer for both of us. So I should have left right then, but I was like, all right, he couldn't get reservations, whatever. Even though Rainforest Cafe takes walk-ins because I've taken my nieces there. So, anyways, we get to the comedy club and we had a good time. So, time to leave. He says he isn't feeling well and asks if I can drive him home. Now, mind you, he didn't have anything to drink, so he wasn't drunk or buzzed, because if that was the reason, I would have driven him home instead of having him drive. But his house was 35 minutes in the opposite direction of where I needed to go. So I said, no, you can drive home. You're fine. I'm not going to take you home. So I said good night, and I got in my car and drove away. He was walking down the parking lot aisle. The next day, we were talking as if nothing had happened. He asks if he can see me again. I agree. This time he discloses he's short on money, so he needs to do something low key. I said, okay, how about a picnic at the park? Or there's plenty of free museums we can go to. So we did the park, but there was no picnic. Out of nowhere, he starts to smoke. Little disclaimer, I dislike smokers and dating a smoker. And I said, smoking. I was like, because we had talked about this, and he said he didn't smoke. Because that's one of my like red flags and like a deal breaker. Like I won't date smokers. So I say, so when did you start smoking? He goes, oh, I always have, but I knew you didn't want to date someone that was smoking, so I told you I didn't smoke. And I was like, so you already lied to me within our first couple of weeks because that's kind of a big lie. Like I would have found out eventually. So I gather my blanket and I tell him, I'm going to think about this. His response was, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. He loves me. I can't let smoking be the deal breaker because we were meant to be. I am his one. I gave the puzzled look like, the one? You love me? It's been like 2 weeks, one date. I was like, yeah, I don't think we're using the L word at this point. The whole next week is him apologizing, him exclaiming that he loves me, blah, 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 blah. The next week is him apologizing, exclaiming that I should give him one more chance or give him another chance because he knows we're perfect together, blah, 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 whatever. So, against my better judgment, I agreed to see him one more time just to see. after all, we did have a great time at the comedy club. We do have great conversations. So I was like, okay. I was like, maybe I can get over the smoking thing if he doesn't smoke around me and I don't smell it. So it is the third weekend, our third date, and I go to his house. I'm not there more than like 2 minutes, and he gets a phone call saying some guy needs a ride from him. This friend was a truck driver. He just got into town and needs a ride back from the truck yard. So now the first date, he said he needed a ride home because he wasn't feeling well. Well, just found out lie number two, he doesn't have a car, and his roommate had actually dropped him off that night, and he was hoping I was going to give him a ride home. So found out that he had to take an Uber home that night. He had money for an Uber, but didn't have money for the Rainforest Cafe or an actual date. But we'll get over that one. And I'm thinking, who has a roommate at age 53? He's a property manager. Don't they give the apartments for free to property managers? So, anyways, so now this guy has roommates. He's a smoker. He has no car and he has very little money. We take the roommate's car to go get this friend, and the roommate's car reeked of cigarette smoke. So obviously the roommate smokes as well. So we get to the friend, and I stay quiet as there is a new person here. I don't know the friend. The friend, I don't know if he knew about me that I was going to be there or not, but he's trying to break the ice, and he suggests that we go get something to eat. So we go to a Mexican restaurant. The friend pays. Mr. Smoker, Mr. CatBox, whoever, the guy that I'm supposed to be on the date with, goes to the bathroom. And it was like this moment was planned because the second the guy left, the roommate starts grilling me 100 questions about everything. So 15 minutes later, the guy returns and the friend goes back to being quiet. And I was like, all right. The two of them kind of do this weird eye glance thing at each other, and then we decide to leave. So we get to the house. The friend is now staying the weekend with this guy, this date or whatever he is. And I'm in the house and I'm talking, this place is disgusting once I actually get into the house. Because before I was only in them for like a couple minutes before we got called away. The kitchen has not been cleaned in weeks. Don't even get me started on how disgusting the bathroom was. It was like swamp monster was living in there. There was so much dirt, grime, whatever film slime stuff that grows on around the shower curtain. It was disgusting. So instead of using the restroom, I decided to hold it because I'm like, I am not going to be staying here any longer. I ask if there's another restroom that I can use because I say, oh, this one's kind of dirty and it's out of toilet paper and make excuses. So he's like, yeah, there's another one upstairs. So I go to find it and there's a stench coming from upstairs that I don't even know if a morgue would smell this bad. Trying to find the source of the smell, and then I find it. It is a cat box that hasn't been changed or cleaned in probably months. There is no litter left in the actual cat box, just a few little sprinkles of cat litter around the edge where the cat, like, it fell off his feet or whatever. And I'd been there for maybe a half hour, 45 minutes at this point, and I still hadn't seen the stupid cat. So where is this cat? Even the cat ran away from the smell. So it's at this point that I decide it's time for me to leave. I cannot take this anymore. The disgustingness, the smoking, he's already lied. He doesn't have a car. He has roommates. Like the red flags are just piling up, piling up, piling. Like I was just like, I'm done. I was like, this is the straw that breaks my back. So he asked, oh, you're not going to stay? I was hoping you would stay. We would cook dinner together. And I seriously asked him, I was like, where do you plan on cooking? The kitchen is a disaster. You can't even see the stove. I'm like, you have no clean pots or dishes. I was like, how do you plan on cooking in there? He's like, oh, we'll just wipe something down real fast and I can use the pots and pans. I don't need some E. coli, whatever disease that lives in that kitchen. No, thank you. So I leave. I get in my car and I block him. I go completely ghost on him. I block him from social media. I block him from phone calls. Like, I just cannot stand. Like, yes, I probably could have said, yeah, it's not going to work. But at that point, it wasn't even worth it. So I left. Yes, I'm horrible. I did the ghosting thing. So karma will probably get me in the future for that because I did do the ghosting and I try not to. But at that point, there was no other option. I just had to leave and put it all behind me. I could have gotten over the no money thing, The no car thing probably would have been eventually a deal breaker, as we did live like an hour and a half away from each other. But everything else, that was more than three strikes. Three strikes, you're out. I can't do five strikes and keep trying to change them. Nope. So tell me, have you ever met someone that was disgustingly gross, did not clean his kitchen, did not clean the bathroom, had smells that were incomprehensible? I want to know. Email me your stories this week. The email address will be in the comments. And as always, have a great week. Happy dating and stay safe out there, my lovelies.